New at noon, street racing roundup. The Atlanta Police Department making a whopping 44 arrests after another dangerous weekend on our roads. Our Carolyn Ryan is in Midtown Atlanta, where folks, were actually put into handcuffs over the weekend. Carolyn, you've got a big update.
Karen, yeah, police said they were going to crack down, and boy, did they ever. We just got new numbers released from over the weekend. 44 arrests, 114 citations, 29 vehicles impounded, and 4 firearms recovered. Their message loud and clear: this cannot continue.
I found my love for cars probably early on, maybe like 2nd grade, when I was like, 8, 9 years old maybe? Maybe even earlier, yeah.
Okay. What would you say kind of like caught your attention about them?
Just like, I don't know, probably the noise. The looks. Everything about a car just makes me feel happy when you look at it.
End of high school, like senior year, I used to be just driving around like this like ugly E46. And I was on rep wheels and all that. And eventually I sold it because I was like, I don't want it. This car gives me too much problems. And on the way home from school, I saw this white E30, it was parked outside. It was like just sitting there, and some dude's like mechanic show up. And I was like hesitant on going to ask him, but I went, and the dude told me, $700 and it's yours. It came the same day, and I bought it, and ever since then, that's like, I've been in this, like, got into the car scene like more, and starting getting into like modifications and all that. Mainly kind of like the Stancy culture and the low life. That's kind of like where I wanted to be, because it's like, that aesthetic is like really clean for me.
Back in the day, the Need for Speed days, staying up all night playing, video games, racing people, that was kind of where it sparked my interest. When I got my first car, it was kind of like just a desperate, I need to get my first car type of thing. So I didn't really get anything too special. It wasn't until just recently when I finally, got a little older, kind of got to like drive a little bit of this. I've driven like 9 Skylines. I've driven that Mark II that I think is the best car we've ever imported. And I'd say with this purchase, that's really the first time I've kind of like gone all in on a car, just for myself to enjoy, outside of it just being like a daily, grocery getter from point A to point B. Well, I can't believe I haven't even mentioned this, but Initial D. Dude, I used to watch that on Toonami like every Saturday night growing up. And that's how I kind of learned about what car was what, and kind of like got precision. You got to, at the hairpin, how to turn, the apex of the turn. As of late, with the time of age and year we're in the U.S., 25 years has passed for the federal regulations to finally get all these cool cars that were offered in Japan. Nerds like myself could only enjoy these cars on like video games back in the day, Fast and Furious when it came out. And now that 25 years has passed, we can finally start legally importing these cars and kind of enjoying them, the car culture. But what ATL JDM does as a company, we specialize in importing high quality imports from Japan specifically, mainly because we have a full team stationed over there, mechanics, like the full whole 9 yards or 10 yards, whatever you want to call it.
I like technology, and I like, how we communicate with just, phones and whatnot, because my last, 2 cars before this, when me and my wife went and bought a car, we bought it from a place called Carvana, and it's just online. We bought it 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, oh, that's really cool technology, and I just loved it. Not really, didn't care for the human interaction of being hassled by a salesperson. So dealing with these guys, we just text most of the time. They send me photos, videos, oh, you want this, you want that, and it was just like such a wonderful process of just buying the car. It was the easiest process. I'm about to go through another process, maybe get something else here as well, but it was a very easy process, like simple, it was great. So these guys took care of me I couldn't recommend anybody else, you know. It was just painless.
How would I describe customers that buy a car from us? They're all around the board, man. It's one of those things where you've got, you know, the young guys like your little brother who wants to get a Skyline. You've got customers like Powell who've been waiting, like myself, to get these type of eclectic cars. And then you've got, you know, I mean, I just sold a SUV to a hunter, you know, lives in the middle of nowhere, Mississippi, and he's just going to use it for his little off-roader, like camp deer kind of, you know, ATV thing, because it's enclosed with AC. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different options that bring a bunch of different people, you know. It's not just one staple, you know, it's all kind of across the board.
I think the prices played a big role. I mean, they're pretty cheap to buy. They're around a couple thousand, while I feel like JDM, you would have to put more money, a lot more money into them. And I don't know, I just like the look and the feel of BMWs. Like when I first got in the car, I didn't know how to drive manual, so I literally had to have a friend, my homie Josh, he taught me how to drive stick for the first time ever, and yeah, I fell in love with just like the feeling of the gears shifting and just driving the car overall.
I feel like it has a little bit, because like, you know, I used to be a little bit more reserved. I would just, like, I like a small example of the last show we were in, there was this kid, and it kind of just reminded me of me. He just kind of, you know, walked up, you know, just like this, and saw the cars, and just pulled out his iPhone real quick, just kind of snapped it, and just kind of walked off. I wanted to catch him, like, no, hop in the car, sit in the car, and I kind of almost relate with that kid, because that's, you know, before going anywhere else, I just kind of look at stuff and just kind of, I don't like being, I don't know, I don't like being out there like that, you know. So with this, it's kind of different, because it's like a passion, you know. I love this car. I love everything about it. It's fun. So when someone else wants to share your passion, you know, you want to share what it is, and, you know, get more involved. So it's probably a little bit more open, because I'm at the shows before. I used to just kind of hide in the back and be like, yeah, that's my car over there or whatever. But now I'm like, hey man, you want to check it out, see it, and meeting lots of people on Instagram. I got some 14-year-old kid hitting me up the other day. He was like, loves my car, and he's getting a 350Z from his dad, and talking about it. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. You know, I'm talking to just random people. So it's kind of opened me up a little bit. So I feel like it's gonna be a little different change for me, but it's gonna be kind of cool getting to meet new people.
How have I seen the car culture change as growing up? Really just when I was Dougie's age, you know, back in 2008 when I graduated high school, you know, it was Honda Civics, Preludes, Dodge Neons, Blazers, you know, Chevy Blazers. That was like the car scene over here, because we didn't really get those specific cars from Japan, and when we did, we had very big differences, different engines. They're basically more focused for the economy here, you know, gas mileage, etc., etc. Over in Japan, you know, they had all the fun. I would say that it's seeing different cars, and also the level of impact that social media, the internet, and stuff like that has had on this entire scene. You know, like last night I went to a meet, and it used to just be like me and 13 people, the same 13 people every Tuesday night. Now that meet's completely blown up because of Facebook groups, Instagram, etc., etc. Now, you know, last night, I think there are well over 100 people there.
Nearly 100 people arrested in a massive street racing crackdown in Fulton County this weekend. They say they impounded 45 cars in the bust and seized several guns and narcotics. Police say dozens of people were arrested in a massive street racing crackdown in Fulton County over the weekend. News editor Rob DiRienzo reports.
South Fulton police say they arrested 80 people in this street racing detail. A lot of the drivers I spoke to said they've seen the dangers of racing firsthand.
It's one of those things, man, where it's just getting a little out of hand. You know, like everybody wants to go fast. Everybody wants to show off that exhaust. You know, everybody wants to do the pop, pop, pop. You know, like I get it. It's adrenaline rushing. It's fun. But when you start shutting down major interstates, intersections, you know, with just regular people around, kids in the car, stuff like that, you're not only making yourself look stupid, but you're making all of us like fall into that category. And a lot of us, you know, like your little brother, have spent good money for our cars. And, you know, we want to enjoy those cars because essentially ATL JDM cars, these aren't like daily driving, you know, I mean, again, some people do, but these are like that toy, like on the weekend, like today. Like today's the perfect day to drive a Miata. Today's not the perfect day to go in the intersection and start doing donuts while I got homeboy hanging out the window. Like, I mean, it's making us look bad. And it's also making law enforcement and everyone else take more action, which is, you know, we already had to wait 25 years for these types of cars. You had to wait, or Dougie had to wait 18 years just to get a car. Like now it's just gonna make it harder for us to enjoy the things that we want to enjoy. Go to car shows, have that like feeling of, you know, walking around, talking to random people, getting their story, seeing what they've done to their car. And instead, you know, when people think about that, they don't see that point. They just see us acting like hooligans and wherever doing whatever, donuts, you know. I mean, I've done my fair share of donuts in empty parking lots. I'm sure you have. I'm sure everybody has. But like what they're doing is making it bad. And a lot of those cars are drift cars, you know, like that was a big scene in Japan. So what happens if they make those, like they ban those cars?
It influenced a lot, honestly. Here's the thing, cause like I was always into the car culture, but the thing is like, have you ever been in the car culture? And if you've been to Import Alliance, you know how they always have like the pre-meets and after meets? Those pre-meets were like hectic. Like that's kind of what people wanted. And I guess Pink Flamingo saw that and was like, I could probably build something from off of this. And he probably did. Like, and that's kind of like, that's probably why like the whole scene blew up because of Pink Flamingo. Because like everybody wanted that. But since they only had that like one time at like a year, and he was bringing it like kind of like monthly, that's why it kind of like blew up in the car scene and blew it up. Man, me influencing, I don't know if I can say that. Like, I get people who DM me every now and then say like, yo, your car is sick. It's like the way I can say it's like probably like the way I inspire people like to have like an aesthetic for their cars. Cause like that's one thing about the car scenes, like some people don't have like a style, and like people just like go for like the simple mods, lower wheels, but it's like you can add that, but it won't stand out. It's like when you add the little touches and the style, kind of like what I like to do with my cars. That kind of like inspires other people, like, oh, let me put the pinstripes on the taillights and all that. Because like I started doing the pinstripes on the taillights on this, and like I started seeing more people start popping up with it, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And like I guess that's what I could say is like influence a little bit. But as an influence, like, you know, overall, I can't say I did, but I can say as the group, we did. My tip would just be find a group of friends that's like into it, like already, like, because if you just try to like have a car and just try to like put yourself inside like another group, it's not gonna work. Like you're not gonna fit in, and that kind of like, I guess that kind of like makes people not want to be part of it. It's like if you have like a group of friends who are like semi into it, then you guys both get into it. It's like that, like between like you and your friend like sharing different opinions on the car, like it kind of makes you guys like want to get more invested into it. And then from there, you can find other group of people that just think similar to you. That's kind of like how I did it when like I only knew like two of my boys are from right here at the time. And I didn't really know nobody from up north. But then I had like I had a friend who'd like, yo, come up here, like well, let's link up. And ever since there, like I met more friends who I could say like they're my boys now. So that's kind of like I want to say, like just have a group of friends and just like do it together. Basically put the record straight with like our Pink Flamingo, like, you know, just a group of people, like every other car people, like we just like to have fun. But now it's like we're just kind of just like laid back now. We're just like a group of friends. It's not even like a group of like, oh, you gotta be like a certain person or have a certain car. Like there's people in that group that don't even have a car, And it's kind of like now we're just a close group of friends who just like to have fun. And now we're just kind of doing our own stuff now. So that's probably like why people don't see us out there as much no more. I'm pretty sure there's like 1 or 2 members, but it's because they're not really in the like close group friend. So I kind of want to say like we're just kind of just want to say like, you know, we're just kind of done with it. You know, we already had our fun with it. Now we're just the only thing we can do is now just go up.
Just go for it. Like, you know, I used to just like back to the whole shy thing. Like I don't know, I used to be just reserved, but just being around something that you just really love and sharing with someone else is it's a whole nother thing. You know, it's no hate. It's just all love with you know, other people that just enjoy seeing the car. Because, so, you know, I mean, some people that, you know, don't go out or, you know, whatever their situation may be, they might have never heard of this car or seen it. So, you know, you just showing them the car, they're like, oh wow, that made my day. You know, just seeing a car that they've never heard of. So it's just really interesting time with all this.
Just don't be afraid to ask any questions, you know? Like, I mean, trust me, like I've heard a lot of dumb questions, especially with right-hand drive and stuff like that. I've heard 40-year-olds ask me the dumbest things. Like there are dumb questions, but there's always an answer, you know? And it's all about just trying to gain knowledge. And, you know, just that's pretty, I guess that's pretty much all I can say is just kind of, you know, ask. Just don't be afraid, don't be nervous.
I just think cars are a representative of who you are as a person, and it shows a lot of your passion through it as well. And so when I buy these old BMWs, I'm showing like what I'm capable of doing as well. Just because like I don't have much time. Like I own the store at a young age, and I work literally every day, 7 days a week, and I don't have time to work on these cars myself. So I'd make money for my business and then put a lot of it towards my cars, just because that's just what makes me happy, you know.
It's a Tennessee thing. We gotta stay.